Europe cannot be classified only as a geographical or political concept. Thinking of Europe as a single large peninsula separated from Asia by the Caucasus and the Ural Mountains impoverishes it very much. Europe is also a civilization. It is a commonwealth of ideas and values which join different nations with mental connections, including Polish people too. European ideas of freedom and tolerance were a content of life for many of them. We want to present 4 of them. Maria Skłodowska-Curie. She was born on the 7th of November 1867 in Warsaw and died on the 4th of July in 1934 in Passy. She was a great Polish-born physicist and chemist. She spent most of her life in France, where she developed her scientific career. She was a pioneer in the field of radioactivity. Her achievements include the creation of theory of radioactivity, the discovery of 2 new elements, polonium and radium. Under her direction, first studies were conducted into the treatment of cancers using radioactive isotopes. She was a world-class researcher, the author of pioneer works on physics and nuclear chemistry. Her discoveries changed the views on the structure of matter, giving the beginnings for new research disciplines. She was announced to be the greatest woman scientist of all times by the New Scientist magazine. Maria Skłodowska-Curie should be a symbol of European cooperation in the field of scientific research, increasing her input in the future of Europe based on knowledge and innovations. Apart from her scientific achievements, Maria Skłodowska-Curie has also contributed to equal opportunities for women, integral element of human rights. Not only did she prove that women can compete with men, but also defeat men. Curie was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize, and she's the only woman to win the award in 2 different fields. She was the first woman who studied at the Sorbonne. She never gave up, and she showed people that success is possible even if you come from a tiny little village. She was the first woman who opened the door of science and politics for women. Had it not been for Maria Skłodowska-Curie, women would never believe in themselves. She was a true warrior for women's freedom. She gave women hope and courage. Leszek Balcerowicz. He was born on the 19th of January 1947 in Lipno. He is an economist and politician. He graduated from many prestigious universities. From 1969, he was a member of the Polish Communist Party until the declaration of martial law in Poland in 1981. Later, he became an economist expert in the independent trade union Solidarity. He was a deputy minister and a minister of finance in Tadeusz Mazowiecki's government. He held the same position in following cabinets. In 1990s, he implemented the Polish economic transformation, referred to as the Balcerowicz Plan, a series of reforms sought to end hyperinflation and balance the national budget. Between 2001 and 2007, he was a chairman of the National Bank of Poland, and he was also a member of European Central Bank. It would be difficult and would last longer to transfer Polish economy into a competitive one without Leszek Balcerowicz. He has created Polish economy system. His acts and reforms led to a real revolution which contributed to decreasing the inflation from 685% down to 60%. Thanks to Balcerowicz, we have the right to start our own businesses, which was impossible in the communist times. In 1991, he signed a treaty with European Economic Community, which was the first step to joining the European Union. Lech Wałęsa was born on the 29th of September 1943 in Popowo as a Polish politician, trade union organizer, human rights activist, and electrician by trade. He is a symbol of fighting for freedom and equal rights in Poland and all over the world. A charismatic leader, he co-founded Solidarity, the biggest trade union in the world, which included 10 million members, oppositionist in the communist times. In 1967, he was employed as an electrician at the Gdańsk shipyard. 3 years later, he became one of the chairmen of the strike in his workplace. He was a political activist, one of the people who led to a great revolution in political life in Poland and abroad. He risked his own life and he started New Poland, free of communist government. Between 1990 and 1995, he served as President of Poland. Since the end of his presidency, Wałęsa has lectured on Central European history and politics at various universities and organizations. He teaches people about the difficult road to democracy and the European Union. He fought for workers' rights, freedom and dignity. He contributed to abolishing the communist government and opened the way to political and economic freedom, free parliamentary elections on the 4th of June 1989 and to first non-communist government after the Second World War. Thanks to these changes, Polish economy was opened to the West. He presided over Poland's transformation from a communist to post-communist state. His international fame remains as a man who was awarded a Nobel Peace Prize in 1983. Karol Wojtyła was born in Wadowice on the 18th of May 1920. He was brought up among Catholics and Jews. He was a very good student, that is why he could continue his education. Wojtyła studied theology and Polish studies. As a young student, he worked in the quarry with ordinary people, and this fact made him sensitive to people's needs. He was ordained as a priest on the 1st of November 1946, and 12 years later he became a bishop. He enjoyed spending time with young people, and he wasn't afraid of talking about difficult topics. He wanted to break boundaries, what he proved in Assisi, where people of many religions took part in the prayer and they all prayed for freedom to their God. After the death of John Paul I, he went to Rome to take part in his funeral and a papal conclave. On the 16th of October 1978, he was elected a pope, and he chose the name John Paul II. He was the first pope from Eastern Europe and the first non-Italian in 455 years. His pontificate was the longest in history and lasted for 27 years. He died on the 2nd of April 2005. Pope John Paul II came into contact with believers from many divergent faiths, and he also improved relations between Catholics and Judaism. He extensively traveled, and during his trips he emphasized the importance of respecting human rights, fighting for freedom, objection to totalitarianism, and youth ministry. He fought for tolerance, freedom, and equal rights for all people. Many times in his speeches, he emphasized that people have the right to freedom of speech and religion. In his message on the World Youth Day, accepted the process of increasing women's role in social, political, and economic life. He was a supporter of equal rights for women. Karol Wojtyła supported Polish people in their struggle to freedom and gave Poles the courage to rise up together with Lech Wałęsa during communism. When Poland joined the European Union, he said, "We don't have to enter Europe. We are there as we created Europe."